Samsung arguably put out one of the greatest devices of this year with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But I'm here to speak on the Samsung device for most people, and that device is the Galaxy S25 FE. Why do I think it's the phone for most people? I'm gonna be the tech guy, and let's find out. First, I'm gonna touch on what I always touch on, and that is pricing of the Galaxy S25 FE. And this is where it gets a little iffy just because of the renewed market, with the S25 Plus being very similarly priced, renewed as this device is when you get it new. And that's really difficult to kind of toy with because, again, there's a few trade-offs. Obviously, the S25 FE is built to be more of a mid-range device, so it is having some things brought down, like the cameras, the optical fingerprint scanner versus the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. So when it comes to that device versus the S25 Plus, it makes a little bit more sense to go with the S25 Plus for the renewed sake. But if we're really not speaking on that, because it's just dependent on deals and everything that you're seeing on Amazon or on eBay or anywhere else you can find these devices, this is the Samsung device that most people will get on a carrier. And I think that it's well more worth the price that you're paying for this device, where it's brand new about $650. And that price is a lot easier to stomach than $1,000, brand new with the S25 Plus. And I'm speaking on people who are buying from carriers because, yes, you can buy these phones outright. And a lot of people don't typically do that. Maybe some of you do out there in the tech market, but for the most part, I'm speaking about most people, and that's a lot of people who are going into carrier stores, and they're going to see these devices go toe-to-toe with the S25 Plus and the regular S25, and they're priced at their normal pricing, so they're not renewed in those stores. Maybe you get a good deal and the carrier's throwing one, but for the most part, you're gonna get a better bang for your buck with the S25 FE here. And I'm going to go over all of the categories of why I believe that. And the first one I'm going to touch on is build quality. The build quality of the S25 FE is so close to its more expensive counterparts. I actually prefer the S25 FE's look versus the S25 Plus with those black rings around the cameras. I like these more silver outlined cameras on this device, and it just looks great overall build quality wise and how it feels in the hand. It has all the same trappings as every other Samsung device and even goes toe to toe with the S25 Plus and S25, like I said. The biggest difference you're actually going to see is with that display. So when we turn it over and we take a look at the display, you will notice that there is a little bit larger of a chin and overall bezels compared to the S25 Plus with the S25 FE. And sure, many people may find that to be a problem. And I really don't, in all honesty. It's so close to the S25 Plus, and you really can't notice a difference with those bezels that much, especially when you're using it for a long period of time. It's negligible at best. And the resolution is technically worse at 1080p quality versus 2K quality, but you don't really notice that day to day. Samsung makes some of the best displays on the market, and they didn't slouch on this one either. The colors are very vibrant. It's got great solid brightness. It's just overall a very solid panel, and most people would not notice a difference. It feels very premium and very flagship-esque. A lot of devices come stock 1080p out of the box with the display, so you're not really going to notice anything, and sure, that saves on battery. So you're looking at a lot of things where they've cut down in the right places, especially here in the build quality department, because it looks so close to the more expensive devices that you wouldn't really be able to tell them apart hand in hand. I'm telling you, you need to look at both these devices to really understand what I'm talking about, but it's so negligible that you're not really going to notice a difference. And that's why saving a couple $100 on this device versus going with the flagship is really just worth it, in my opinion. It's not noticeable in the build quality department whatsoever, so I think the S25 FE is totally worth it in the build quality department. Next, we're going to talk about experience. And here, again, you're not really noticing a huge difference except extreme use cases like gaming. This device here holds up day-to-day no problem. It has an Exynos processor, the Exynos 2400, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'll put it up here. Either way, I'll put it up on the screen for you. This device here is well worth the money that you spend on it. No doubt in my mind, because this device holds up doing any and everything that you throw at it. And it comes with Samsung's One UI 8 out of the box, and you have all the AI features. You've got so many things you can do with DeX and wireless DeX, and all of the trappings that you get in the flagship counterparts comes in this. And sure, that Exynos processor, people want to talk so much crap about Exynos, but they've gotten to a point where I think they're so efficient and they're doing such a great job that it's really hard to tell a difference even from the higher end devices. I did not mind using this day to day, whether it was social media, web browsing, or taking photos, or even doing things like watching YouTube, watching content in general. Looks amazing here. And it runs really fast and smooth, opening up apps, keeping apps in the background. And it's just an overall really pleasant experience when it comes to the S25 FE. The Exynos 2400 stacks up against basically the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 of 2023, which is in the S23 Ultra, and that device is still smooth and snappy here in 2025. So this device goes toe-to-toe with that and even beats it in some use cases, and that's where I really think this is why it's so worth it. Because yeah, technically you're getting old flagship specs, but that doesn't matter because we're so far ahead with specs that nothing really destroys this device. Even gaming, like I said, sure, you might be able to get a few more frames out of the Snapdragon 8 Elite and the flagships, but this one right here holds its own in Fortnite, in Call of Duty, in every game that you can throw at it, whether you're using regular Subway Surfers, or you're playing Doodle Jump, or you're playing Angry Birds, or whatever the case you may be throwing at this. This device can hold it no problem, and it only gets slightly warm when it's doing major tasks, and that to me isn't much of a big deal. It holds its own and it holds its weight against a lot of these devices. It's one of those devices that you're not going to see any major hiccups when you're using it, whether you're using it to do extreme things like gaming, or if you're using it just to go on TikTok and your Facebook and your Snapchat and all of those things, and Twitter. I'm not calling it X, Elon. I'm sorry, I'm not calling it X. I'm calling it Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you're going to be perfectly fine scrolling away, looking at pictures, commenting on other people's posts. Whatever the case may be, this device can do it and more. And for me, that is truly impressive. And the fact that it comes with the AI stuff and a 7-year update promise, that is super impressive as well. They didn't have to give that to this device, but they totally did, and they're promising that to their customers. So you're getting pretty much everything that the flagships give you in this device with a few little things cut down. And the one thing in this experience that is a little bit more cut down is the optical fingerprint scanner. They do have the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner in the flagships, and this one's only optical, and it's a little too low for my liking if I'm being honest. I wish they would have put it more in the center of the display where my thumb rests a little bit easier. I do have to reach down and it gets a little cumbersome, and it's also not as fast as an ultrasonic, and you do get spoiled when you have that on different devices. But if you're not coming from a device that has an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, you're not going to really be that upset. It's very accurate. It gets into the device just fine. You just have to hold your finger there for a little bit longer. That's the only problem. Otherwise, this device holds up amazingly well in the experience department. Like I said, with all of the things Samsung packs into One UI, this device handles that and more, and I believe that it holds up tremendously well for its experience here. Now we're going to touch on cameras with the S25 FE, and I think this is their biggest cut down in terms of what you're getting out of this device for the price that they dropped. It's not as good as the flagship's cameras, especially when you enter low light. But when you're looking at day-to-day photos, I think it takes really respectable photos, and it takes really awesome pictures overall. The color reproduction is really good, the dynamic range is solid. Like I said, the problem is just in that low light. Otherwise, you get good portrait photos, you get good landscape photos, you get good photos of pretty much anything you really want to. You're going to be able to get a solid photo, especially to post on social media. These are not the greatest photos you've ever seen, and these aren't going to blow you away by any means, but they are more than serviceable. So when it comes to this triple camera setup, yes, you're not getting as good of sensors, you're not getting as good of megapixels, but overall, what it delivers for its zoom, ultra-wide, and wide cameras is more than capable to give you a really great image that you're going to enjoy to give to people and take pictures for things and send them to people or post them on social media. Like I said, this device's cameras, while they aren't the top tier, and this is where you're seeing the biggest cut down in my opinion, I don't think that it's not a go though. And so that's where I gotta say it, is that these photos do hold up tremendously well, and they're definitely way better than I expected them to be for a mid-range device, if I'm being honest. Sure, they don't stack up to the S25 Ultra, they don't stack up to the S25 Plus, they don't stack up to the Pixel devices, but they do serve you well. So yes, the cameras here on the S25 FE, definitely get a go from me. Finally, we're going to talk about battery life. And here, that is very respectable. I was getting about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time on this bad boy, and it's because it has a very respectable battery. It has a 4900 milliamp hour battery, and for that size, it actually holds up really well. Like, it really holds up pretty much on flagship level. The Exynos processor in here is way more efficient than previous devices and doesn't heat up as much and really handles everything you throw at it. So you can get definitely a day's use out of this thing, and if you're a light user, you could probably get a day and a half to 2 days if you're really pushing it. It's really just a combination of things for this device, and they did something that they didn't have to do. They gave you the full-fledged 45 watt charging for this device, as opposed to some of their lower end devices they give the 25 watt. So this gives full flagship charging and a full flagship style battery. For what it's offering, I think this is one of those things where they didn't cut a corner. In fact, I think they did a little bit better than some of their other devices with the battery life on this thing, and it's more than capable of getting you through a day's use. You will not have to worry that much about charging this device, and for me, that's more than you can really ask for nowadays. I am genuinely spoiled by my OnePlus 13 and its ultra fast charging and its 6000 milliamp hour battery, and most people aren't going to be encountering devices with that large of batteries right now, and that's perfectly fine. I'm super used to that device and its battery life and its fast charging, and that for me is obviously this device doesn't hold up that much to my OnePlus 13's battery, but for the most part, it's really good, and I do genuinely say that you should pick this up, especially in the battery department, because it does hold up throughout a day, possibly day and a half to 2 days if you're a light user. Otherwise, if you're a moderate to heavy user, you're getting a full day's use of this battery, and I do think that the S25 FE holds up in the battery department as well. So all in all, the S25 FE is a great device to be had for its pricing, especially on carriers. You're going to pay a lot less per month for this device, and you're going to get a majority of the trappings of a flagship on it as well. And so that's ultimately why I say the S25 FE is the Samsung phone for most people. You're getting the 7 years of updates, you're getting all of the One UI stuff, you're getting all the AI stuff, you're getting everything this phone has to offer. You're getting solid cameras, solid battery life, and just an overall super capable device. And they've come such a long way with their Exynos processors in these mid-range devices that I am genuinely impressed with what they gave us here. So yes, I definitely believe you should pick up the Galaxy S25 FE.